Hey guys and girls, one of the very few things I was good at on guitar early on was changing chords quickly, and I wanted to share the drill I used to do back then that helped me a lot. Essentially, the idea behind this drill is to simplify the problem as much as possible. So you're only drilling one chord change at a time instead of, say, practicing a song where your brain has to process multiple changes at once. I also like the idea of starting with the simplest possible scenario, getting that down pat, and then building off of that one chord at a time. So to illustrate, I'm going to start with a very simple change, which is from A minor to C major. Now this is really barely a chord change because I'm only moving one finger, my ring finger, but it's a great example of how if two chords have fingers in common, we never want to lift those fingers when changing between the chords. In other words, we never want to do this. We always want to do this. So the drill is going to go like this. I'll start very slowly and just go back and forth, back and forth. I'm never introducing a new chord, just sticking to this one pattern, and I'm only strumming once per chord change. Now you could use arpeggios instead of strumming to make sure you have the notes ringing out clearly. But don't get into a thing like this where you're doing something like because all you'll do is distract yourself from feeling the motion of the change in your fretting hand, which for me is my left hand. Now for each change you're going to go at a regular slow pace and then slowly increase the tempo once you have it smooth. A lot of people would say you should be using a metronome, and while I agree with that, it's also important to put in at least some time without the metronome as well. The reasoning there is that we're not really working on our sense of rhythm right now, so we want to give ourselves a chance to relax the fingers when we're building this muscle memory. So maybe this initial drill will take you a while to get good at, or maybe you're thinking, well, hey, this is way too easy, why are you wasting my time with this? Which is fine. All that means is that you're ready to skip to the next drill, which will be a two-finger change from E minor to C major. Again, I'm only moving the fingers that need to move, so my middle finger remains anchored to the string. Although, when you are switching chords like this, you may find you have to adjust the position of the fingers that are anchored. And let me show you what I mean by that. When I'm playing A minor, you notice my middle finger is a little bit higher up on the string than my ring finger is, which is right next to the fret. That's because the ring finger is kind of blocking the middle finger from getting closer to the fret where I want it to be. So when I change to the C major, I'll slide that middle finger down so it's closer to the fret. And I'll just keep making that adjustment back and forth. So when you're anchoring fingers, don't feel like you have to just anchor it in one place. You can slide it around a little bit to wherever you're comfortable playing with that chord. So the basic idea is the same no matter what. We'll just go slowly, and then over time we'll just increase the tempo once we start feeling comfortable. Slowly. And this might take an hour or a day or a week. It doesn't matter. Make sure you take breaks in between, anywhere from 20 minutes to a day, to let your fingers relax so they don't get too tense. And if you're looking for another good two-finger change, you can go from D major to A major, but that only works if you finger the A major like I do. And I almost always finger it like this because it makes it easy to change to the D and also to the E just by sliding that index finger up. Another easy change you can make is from E major to A minor. And in this case, I'm moving my whole hand, so I'm not anchoring any fingers. But it's an easy switch because I'm only moving over one string. So this makes a good drill to practice as a bridge between the anchored changes and a totally free change where you're not keeping any strings in the fretboard. Now, the general idea with these drills is Once we get used to the basic motion of moving all our fingers into a new position, each chord we add takes less and less time to get used to. So by the time you get around to harder changes like E major to D major, where you're moving all over the fretboard, or maybe the infamous C major to G major, you'll find you already have the basic tools you need to make them less daunting. Just make sure you're moving and pressing down on the strings all at once like I've been doing. So don't start off like this, and I'll see if I can it's hard for me to do it the wrong way, but don't do something like this. See how I'm putting down my fingers one at a time? You never want to do that. It's helpful when you're first learning how to finger a chord, but if you're learning how to change chords, you really want to get used to moving all your fingers as a unit right away. So that's about all I wanted to say. From there, the next step for me personally was learning how to change in and out of bar chords. I doubt very many people have trouble sliding around a bar chord like this. But it took me a long time to get good at changing from an open chord to a bar chord and back again. Or to change from an E-shaped bar chord to an A-shaped bar chord and back. So I'm not going to keep blabbing on about it in this video, except to say that the principles for practicing these are the same as what we just went over. You just have to have patience and not expect to be able to handle these new types of changes right off the bat, because bar chords and open chords have a very different feel. So having skills in open chords doesn't translate as easily to skills in bar chords and vice versa. Not the same way it would be for going from one open chord to another open chord. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, and have fun.